All right, so we are back, and we are 2 weeks away from Jake Paul versus Tyron Woodley. That is right, the captain, the conductor of the hair loss locomotive, a.k.a. Jake Paul, versus the man that'll drop you in the ring and then drops bars so smooth his own mother falls asleep to him. Nursery rhyme style. Of course, I'm talking about Tyron Woodley. Now, I've showed you guys a lot of what Tyron can do to beat Jake. A lot of the things that Tyron is doing better than a lot of the previous opponents that Jake's had. There are things that Tyron can do to win this fight, but I haven't showed you the other side of that equation. Today, we are going to talk about how the toupee toddler himself, Jake Paul, gets this fight done. How does he actually beat Tyron? We're going to take a look at sparring footage from Jake that came out a couple weeks ago and how it pairs with something that we just saw brand new from Tyron Woodley. I guess you'd call it sparring footage that he put out a couple days ago. So let's get into it. Can Jake Paul beat Tyron Woodley, force the man to get a tattoo of his name on his chest, forehead, earlobe, bottom of his foot, calf muscle, I don't know where, and shut up the MMA community? How does Jake Paul beat Tyron Woodley? The breakdown. Let's go. All right, so this is Tyron Woodley working with pro boxer Anthony White Chocolate Martinez. He's in Mundo Boxing Gym in Miami. All right, so you see Tyron slipping, right? He's slipping on the inside of these jabs. It's not a bad thing that Tyron slips inside that jab. It's just how far he goes to slip inside that. Look what is lined up right here. Straight right hand down the pipe. Yow. That cleans Tyron up if that straight right hand goes. And again, we know Jake has a beautiful straight right hand as well. I don't mind the slip. I just mind how much of a slip it was, how much effort it took to get all the way over that lead leg as he's trying to get out of the way of the jab. Again, guys, I know they're just moving around here, and this isn't a full-on spar, but Tyron here is practicing his defense, and while he's practicing his defense, it doesn't look very good. And we know that Tyron's a naturally defensive fighter, but this one, too, wasn't meant to actually hit Tyron, but if it was, what's stopping that right hand from cleaning across Tyron's chin? It's not this hand ready to parry. This hand's somewhat trying to block the body. There's no shoulder roll. And then we see this number, right? I'm not sure what this is, because the first thing is a big no-no. Tyron just walks forward off the ropes. He crosses over with his lead leg, not defensively aware, not set, and then try to get back into position. Still not in position here. And finally, we're in position. I just don't know what that is. Crossing over, walking straight backward. I don't get it, man. This is more of what I want to see from Tyron, right? You slip outside of that jab, you're safe here. He's parrying that jab. You'd like to maybe even see this jab come out and answer with it. This is a go-to for Tyron, right? We've seen Tyron throw this shot many, many times. Now, he throws it to the body here, right? Usually, we're used to seeing Tyron trade right hands with the big overhand over the top and land it up here. It's his best shot. In my opinion, it's his best way to win this fight. Tyron should again plant off this lead foot and pivot out to regain position and reset the action. Now you're squared up, ready to go. Instead, he goes across again with the lead foot. Now is his right knee or his right foot. And you even then could pivot off the right foot, switch the stance, and get back to a place where you're engaged and ready to go. And look who has given up center of the ring again. After you've landed the offensive attack, instead of stepping forward here and changing that angle to where now Tyron's an orthodox over this left shoulder, he's done this runaround and basically given ring generalship and center of the ring to the opponent. Something that Tyron's always done is fight defensively against the back of the ropes. I hate it. I want him to come forward. And I don't know. It seems like he's more comfortable doing this. He's fought his entire UFC career by kind of hanging on the cage. And it looks like, again, he's backing himself into these corners. Not just here, but earlier as well, right? Look, just backing straight into the ropes. It's all wrong. Crossing the feet over. Unbalanced. Not fluid. And he just 2 or 3 or 4 steps back. Of course this guy's going to come forward. One guy has to lead the dance. And if Tyron's just not going to do it and hang around the outside like this, it's going to be Jake. So you guys kind of see what I'm talking about here with Tyron. It concerns me that, again, he is taking this defensive role, even if it is warming up to sparring or a cool down from sparring, and he's working specifically on his defense. I would like to see him be a little bit more aware defensively with his hands. Again, they're just kind of by his sides. He's letting shots come through that aren't supposed to hit him because the guy's not trying to, but if he were, he would get cleaned out with some of those right hands to the chin. And then we see him, again, kind of clumsy with the feet, crossing over. That stuff takes, like I said, a ton of energy. And it really got him nowhere but back on the back foot, trying to reset and having to fumble around to get back into his stance. How many of those explosive movements does he have? How many of those shots does he have before Jake starts to overwhelm him with pace and pressure? And like I said, as we saw in the video, if Tyron continues that inside slip off the jab, where he does have a right hand still to deal with out of orthodox, it lines up perfectly for a problem child fucking rocket boosted uppercut off his backhand, one of his favorite shots, and I'm gonna show you exactly what I mean. All right, so this is the sparring footage that Jake and his team edited and put out on his Instagram a couple of weeks ago. It basically just shows everything that Jake did right, but he did do things right. All right, let's take a look. This is the thing that worries me the most. This little sequence right here, and it happens a couple of times, but Jake has a frame, or maybe he's even trying to attempt a left hook here on the lead hand. You can see what shot he wants to go to. Now watch the sparring partner here. I don't know if this is because Jake's hand pushes him that way, but watch as he leans forward. Where have we seen this? Oh yeah, 5 fucking minutes ago. Tyron off the jab gave this same type of movement. Everything over that lead knee. Jake is already looking uppercut, and he lands this thing absolutely flush. Check this. Boom. Lands it. Hurts him. Legs going. One more time, I want you guys to see this. Lean over the lead leg. Jake with the, again, either frame or missed jab or missed hook, but it's still there framing and maybe leading him into this position. Boom. Uppercut behind it. This is what worries me, man. What we saw from Tyron's footage, twice he slipped on the inside very far over his lead leg, which lines up perfectly for that backhand uppercut. And I'm telling you, Tyron over-exaggerating his slips, his feints, and being off balance, standing dead in front of Jake is the worst case scenario. The last thing you want to do is being hesitant, allowing Jake to come forward, or being stuck in range, standing dead in front of him with goofy footwork and not getting out and resetting the action. That's what I'm worried about. So you see a little bit of the same thing here. I don't know who this sparring partner was, but it's basically a walking crash test dummy for Jake. He is absolutely teeing off on this guy. Boom, big uppercut, left hook over the top. This is one of his go-to combinations, guys. You see it there, you see it there. Tyron Woodley changing levels and staying there will absolutely get him caught. He's either gonna hit you with that hook or he's gonna force you to roll under it, right? That's why the hook is thrown, so that you have to either roll under it or you're gonna get hit. And right after you roll, boom, the uppercut sends you out of your fucking shoes to the moon. The biggest thing Tyron can't do is just hang out there. Get the out of range. Now, this last piece of footage we're going to take a look at is actually cause for concern if you're a Jake Paul fan as well, because yes, he has some success here, but it does show what I was talking about with Jake overthrowing a ton of his shots, especially with this right hand. Sometimes he will bring that left foot off the ground. He throws it so hard, and it's good. He's sitting down on his shots, but it's also, there's a fine line between sitting down and flat out overthrowing and loading up on that shot. He kind of does that here. So again, we see somewhat of a Philly shell here from the opponent, the sparring partner. The jab touches him. You see him trying to roll over that shoulder. Jake just gets to the target quicker. Boom. But as he throws it, look at how far overthrown Jake is now. Look at this lead hand down by his waist. We did say if Tyron can slip outside of this right hand, which he did in his sparring footage, that is the perfect situation for Tyron. Jake overthrows the right hand. Tyron, again, this guy didn't, but Tyron in his footage, slip underneath and bang the right hand over the top. That is the absolute money shot, and I'm talking 7 figures, because if he lands that shot on Jake, Jake is hitting the canvas, looking up into the lights, the referee's counting to 10, waving it off, and we got an automatic rematch clause. Tyron doubles up his money. That is what you want to see if you're a Tyron Woodley fan. But the rest of it, yeah, that's not good. All right, so like I said, we are getting very, very close to this fight. I'm excited. I am nervous, though, because it does seem like Tyron is falling into those same traps that got him into trouble with high-level strikers in MMA. I did not like what I saw from Tyron there. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I didn't like the clumsy footwork. I didn't like the lazy defense. I didn't like the over-exaggerated slipping. All those things are check marks in the boxes of what Jake can take advantage of. And while, yes, Tyron did show an ability to change levels and avoid the right hand and counter with his own, and Jake sometimes does overthrow, that's a win for Tyron, but everything else should be cause for concern again if you are a Tyron fan. Even if Jake's not the best in the world, and of course he's not, he can still take advantage of over-exaggerated movements that put you in bad positions for some of his better shots. And contrary to his actual book reading ability, Jake's reading comprehension in the boxing ring is not bad. He understands the shots he needs to throw and when to throw them. Let me know down below, what do you guys think of what we saw today? Tyrons defense, Jake's ability, Tyron's inability to correct some minor things that should probably already have been corrected at this point in training. Hopefully it was just some warming up footage that is a little bit taken out of context and doesn't show us the totality of things, and that's probably the case. And from the highly edited Jake Paul sparring footage, in which he is basically punching one of those wacky inflatable tube men at the used car dealership. What did you guys think of that? And if anything, will it make a difference in the fights? I don't have the answers to those questions, but we are 2 weeks away from fight night, and as we get closer, man, I gotta say, I'm getting a little nervous. What happens on fight night? Guess we'll find out.